So then we will start the show in 3, 2, 1.
Captain?
We fell for it! It was a booby trap!
A booby trap?
Kapooyah! Kapooyah!
You're listening to a Fly Science Productions podcast. Welcome to Stream the Machine. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Stream the Machine. This is episode, I think we said 8, right?
I think so.
I think so. I'm Jake. I am one of your hosts. The other host is Tony DePalma. Tony, how you doing?
I'm the second host. I'm doing all right.
I couldn't do it without a second host. I mean, I could, but it wouldn't be very good. It wouldn't be a very good show. So no, it's what's the date? 5/10. Good Lord, we are on the ball today. It's 5/10. So that's May 10th. 10:35 a.m. I was just thinking today, man. 8 shows. That is, now you've been around for 7 of them, but essentially, we've now been doing this for just about 2 months.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I guess when you're doing one show a week, that kind of comes by quicker because you do 8 shows and you think, yeah, that's 8 months. Whereas if we were doing, even 2 shows a week or anything like that, so it's
Yeah.
that's probably why it doesn't feel like too much because we, but whatever, cool. 2 months, and here's to many more. So just at the top of the show, just a couple announcements here. The first episode of Z the Machine is done and recorded. That was, for anyone who didn't tune in, which I think was probably a lot, but that's the point, is, we're putting it up for recording so people can watch it later.
Yeah.
Is we played a game called DayZ, sort of a zombie survival game. We recorded what we did for the first couple hours. We're not going to upload it in hours, so don't worry. You don't have to watch a full movie of us doing some really boring stuff. I'm just going to cut out some of the highlights and upload it. Started out kind of uneventful, but by the end of it, I think we were in like a 45-minute building shootout.
Yeah, that was crazy.
With Tony and Ross. So me, Tony, and Ross had a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed it. Like I said, it kind of started out kind of like, oh god, like what are we going to do? Because there's not a lot of material here. And then we got back and we're like, all right, well, this is a good place to chill for the night. And then all of a sudden, just bandits and zombies and everything just sort of decided they wanted to kill us.
Weren't we about to shut it down once we got into
that
that
was
building?
it. We were kind of like, okay, we're about an hour and a half in, an hour and 45 or something. And, Ross was trying to find us a good place to chill for the night and be done. And then next thing you know, he's like, man, this would be a great spot to shoot some bandits. And he's like, oh, wait, here come some bandits. And so we shoot them. And then, they just kept coming. They kept calling their buddies. But that'll be up soon. I'll probably edit that this week. Put it together, I'll post about it, everyone's going to know about it, then you can watch it. It's only going to be maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, that so you can see highlights of everything that went down. Also important of note is Rachel gets her official master's degree this today.
Wow.
I was going to say this morning. It's not this morning, it's later this evening. She has her graduation this morning, so...
That's exciting.
Sorry, this evening. Good Lord, I'm getting all my days mixed up. So that's what we're doing later, is... go in there and get to watch her graduate and walk down the aisle or whatever you do at graduations. Let's see here. I have an update from my mother. This is breaking news here. She said it's my niece's birthday, Madeline. So happy birthday to you, Madeline. I have no idea how old you are. If I had to ballpark it,
31?
Not 31. No, that's not as old as my father. I'm saying she's probably, she might be 15 or 16 by now. Maybe a little older. I don't know. Anyways, happy birthday, Madeline. Renee, if you're listening, who's my other sister, that's her daughter, tell her happy birthday for me. Okay, so I don't know anything about cars. I know that you use a key to turn them on, and that they require gas when it gets close to this gauge that marks it from empty to full.
Yep.
That's about the extent of my actual car knowledge. My check engine light came on Thursday.
Was it still there?
It's still there.
Okay.
Yeah, so my check engine light is still on, unfortunately. And so it kind of freaked me out at first, because the check engine light means, there's something wrong with your car.
Mm-hmm.
Could be little, could be big. But of course, since I know nothing about cars, I immediately assume, like, this must mean that it's like a stolen car or something. Or like, what's the worst possible thing that the check engine light could mean? My engine's about to fall out. Like, it's probably that. Like, that's immediately what pops into my head.
Yeah.
And, I talked to some guys at work, and they're like, it could be... they're like, it could be a lot of things. Probably isn't a big thing. It's probably, like your O2 levels could be different coming out of your exhaust, and that could trip it. It could be, maybe you just hit a bump and it caused it to turn on. They're like, there's so many different things it could be. Go get it checked and it'll be fine. So that's what I'm going to do after the show. So I'm going to go get it checked, and it really irritates me because I am worried that I'm going to show up and they're going to be like, what costs $500? Oh, this, that's what that light's on for.
Where are you gonna go? Are you gonna go to an actual auto shop?
Probably.
Have them check it out. Okay.
I guess. I mean, what else am I?
What I would suggest is, I don't know. Do you have auto zones in Virginia?
Yeah, I think there's an. Now, see.
So what they can do is they can run a code reader, and
right?
They'll just figure out what is the problem for free, and they'll tell you.
Okay.
So then you can go home, Google the code, and then you can somewhat get an idea of what's wrong yourself. So when you take it to the shop, they're not just going to be like, it's this, and this.
So you think... when I go to them with the code reader, they're not going to be able to tell me straight up what it is, do you think? Or they're just going to give me a code for it?
If you go to
I have the
AutoZone,
manual. I have the manual. Is it something we could look up in the manual? Do you think?
Potentially. Either that or on your phone, like...
Oh, I guess I could Google it.
Like, you could Google it right there.
We do have smartphones in this day and age.
Because, like, our family, like my dad, he used to be an auto mechanic before he got into the operators union. Mm-hmm. But we have a code reader at our house, and I don't think I've ever taken my car. My car's been broken down a few times and had a bunch of error codes, like check engine lights. Right. We've never taken it actual to a shop. Like, we've been able to just use the code. And I mean, at least get an idea of what's wrong with it before having to take it in somewhere.
Yeah, my dad used to be good at that kind of stuff. I mean, he still is. The problem is I am no longer near my father. But he had a code reader and was able to read it, and then he also was a do-it-yourself kind of guy, so we kind of always took care of it ourselves. I
mean, if it's something that you'll have to take it into a shop, like, that's fine. But I'm like, at least, because the shops usually will charge you to run the code. Like,
well, yeah, and I figured they recommended, AutoZone, and then some other guy was like, F AutoZone, man, you need to go to, I can't remember.
Advanced Auto Parts?
No, maybe someone told me to go to Advanced Auto. Or no, I don't know. Someone told me there's like an Advanced Auto versus AutoZone war at work.
Oh, those AutoZone.
So yeah, I'll have to see who's nearby and then see what they can do for me. I mean, it's probably not a big deal, but like I said, I don't know anything about a car. Apparently, I barely know how to drive them, so I'm just like worried that it's going to be the worst possible thing. But
yeah.
Finals, I guess, are going on right now.
Yeah. So, just as it's starting to get nice outside, actually sunny, being able to go out, play frisbee golf, what have you,
right,
is when homework and studying is just like a freaking mountain.
Yeah. Now, how long does school go into May? I don't really remember.
My last day of actual classes is this Monday, okay, and then all my finals are the next Monday.
Oh, dang! So
I only have 3 of them. So
Or no,
Still.
I guess not 2 weeks. I guess maybe like a week and a half, technically. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, good luck. It is kind of a bummer, though, with the weather. Although, it's like sweltering heat out here right now.
Really?
Yeah, I came home Thursday and just about passed out. Like, not literal passed out, but, like, just was so tired because it was the first hot day of the summer so far. We've kind of had some cold days. We've been having a lot of rain, actually. It's, like, really surprising that we, like a week of just, like, straight rain. And it got hot and humid finally. And it was really, really hot. And I got home and I just was like, man, like, I've never felt so exhausted before. And I think it was the heat. I think the heat just really ruined my ability to, I don't know, synthesize energy or whatever. And I got home and I just wanted to lay down and never have to wake up. And so I tried to nap, but I had other things to do. Forgot to mention Rachel's mom is in town this week. So she's been here. She arrived, I think, Wednesday night. She bought me a George Foreman countertop type of grill thing for my birthday.
Those are my favorite.
Right, and then they bought New York strips for me to grill for my birthday. So I had a nice old steak, courtesy of George Foreman, and that was that. And then, so I think they might want to. I think we might go out to dinner sometime between now and.
When was your birthday?
That is classified information, Tony. But it was about. I will say it was over a week ago. It was not over a month ago.
Oh, okay.
Sometime in
well,
April.
Happy late birthday, I guess.
Well, thank you.
Secret information. Is that allowed?
Yeah, no, you can wish me happy birthday. No, but it was very nice of her. So, she's been in town, and I've been, doing other things other than video gaming for once.
Mm-hmm.
Now I saw this tweet of yours. I don't even remember why. I think I was just kind of, because I haven't really used Twitter that much, but I was going through your tweets. Or no, maybe I was just going through my feed and I saw one of your tweets, and you talked about using milk in a protein shake.
Yep.
And it was the day of the expiration. And it happened.
2 days. 2 days.
2 days after?
Yeah, 2 days after.
Oh my gosh. Then you're asking for trouble at that point.
No, okay. I have gotten by, 5 or 6 days.
Oh my, how do you do that?
It's a sell-by date, not a drink-by date.
No. See, okay, if it's the day before the sell-by date, good luck. I'm not even touching that. And you know what? It's just a product of, whatever. I get it. I'm being manipulated by conspiracy theories. I probably could drink it up to the days that you're saying. That's what everybody says. But I tell you what, you put a date on there that says that this is supposed to not be good for something. For something. It doesn't have to be it's good to drink by then. Just make sure it's sold by then. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't want it. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to even look at it. And so 2 days after, that would have been a little sketch. Because like I said, I barely will even touch it the day before it's supposed to quote unquote, be sold by.
Yeah. Because
I don't know.
Especially even if there's a little bit of even you can taste a little funky. When you mix it with protein, you don't even taste the funky. You just taste the protein. So it just kind of covers up.
You're a bold man.
I think what it was is this time it was almond milk.
That sounds terrible just to begin with. Even ripe, that sounds like garbage.
Normal almond milk is pretty good, but I don't know. I heard someone say it was better to mix with protein, it's less fatty and all that jazz. But I was just giving it a shot, and I haven't been using it for everyone, obviously, or else I wouldn't have let it get to the point where it over expired.
Right.
But went to grab the regular milk out of the fridge before I went to work, because I work out on my breaks and have my protein shake when I get back to work. And I went to grab the regular milk, and we were just about out. And me and my roommate share milk, so I didn't want to take the last of it.
Sure.
If I wasn't going to drink it right at the time. So I just reached to the back of the fridge and grabbed the almond milk, shake it up, see it's expired 2 days. I was like, I've done worse than that. But I guess almond milk gets sour so much faster.
Apparently,
So I get back from work. I get back from my workout. I run back, and I just take a sip, and it's just like it hurts my tongue. It's that
Really?
sour.
That
it was
is
so bad. Like it stung my mouth with how bad this stuff was.
That's hilarious. And then so I had to send in me. Here's a clip of Tony after he drank his sour milk.
Put like some of your ham in here.
He had ham in the milk. So yeah, it goes sour real quick and then tends to grow some ham. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to post, I forgot to post on Facebook that we are starting the show. So let me do this. A little live editing here. Stream the Machine is live now. What's the name of our website? www.streamthemachine.com/ I'm just going to do that. Because when I do the live stream thing, we get that stupid gray box. So there we go. Stream the Machine is live now. And then I'm going to do a share. Tune in, share. Okay, we're good. Now we can move on.
Okay.
Cool. So that brings us to news, and we definitely have a bumper for that. So why don't we use that like we do every week?
This just in other news.
That was weird. The very beginning of that got cut off.
Did it?
Yeah. Weird. Let me check these other clips. No, they all look good.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
that first one.
This one.
Oh, yes, go right ahead, Tony.
Forget it.
And other news is brought to you by...
It's brought to you by Z the Machine. Stay tuned for our website and Facebook page to see when the first episode actually debuts. We haven't updated this. The first episode actually aired, or at least streamed, Wednesday. So I guess stay tuned when we finally get the cut edited and uploaded.
Yes.
Actually, you have edited this.
I did, yes, as you can see.
That's my bad. I'm just struggling this morning. I didn't prepare well.
That's all good.
All right. Well, it ended with a huge building shootout that seemed to never end. Except for it ended for me a couple times. Spoiler alert, I died.
Yeah.
Plenty of times. But check out Ross, Jake, and I as we try to survive the zombie apocalypse. Could I butcher that sponsor any more?
You know what? It's all good. It's, people... if we're perfect all the time, we're not entertaining.
Yeah, I guess.
And, we are perfect most of the time. It's our flaws that make us fun. Okay, so serial pooper is on the loose means serial pooper on the loose means no Houston lawn or driveway is safe. Houston police are trying to wipe out a recurring crime wave by flushing out the identity. The puns are abundant. Flushing out an identity of a man who has been caught on surveillance cameras going number 2 on lawns and driveways in the city's Woodland Heights neighborhood. Woodland Heights is where I grew up. Not in Houston, but we had a Woodland Heights in Illinois. The disgruntled dumper has been leaving messes all over the neighborhood and has pooped at one house at least 6 times. It's definitely not a nice thing to do to people, says Patrick Reese, who lives nearby. Going to the bathroom in their driveway is not nice. That's definitely not something that's supposed to go on in a polite society. It is believed that the serial pooper usually strikes late at night or early in the morning under the cover of darkness. I'm ready to turn this. So we're talking about spin-offs before the show and all these dumb new Marvel things. Serial pooper needs to be a new DC comic. The man usually cleans himself up with a paper towel and leaves the soiled sheet on the sidewalk for someone else to sanitize. This is our neighborhood area resident Amy Parsons told Click 2 Houston, which I'm assuming is an online news source. Whatever people think should go on here, pooping is not okay. We don't want dogs pooping in our yards, so why would we want a human? It is very strange. Deputies with the precinct constable's office say the man will be charged with indecent exposure or criminal mischief charge whenever he is caught. So they've got the dude on surveillance. How have they not caught him?
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently 6 times in the same yard?
Yeah.
Or the same driveway? Right, that's not just random. That's premeditated. It's like first-degree pooping.
So, here's the thing, too, is I would be interested in knowing what the, how often he's been doing it over how short of a time period. Because let's say if it's 6 times in a month, I would be sitting out, I guess if he's doing it late at night, you really can't try to lose too much sleep over it, although it sounds like people are losing sleep over it, but, I don't know, I just feel like there should have been a way that they would have caught this guy by now, especially with the 6 times in the one thing, but, whatever, I guess this guy's, pretty agile, gets away, and leaves only the toilet paper and the dump he took. Well, whatever. I guess catch that guy and
it's DNA. just like in CSI, right? They just throw it in the machine, and 10 minutes later they know who it is, right?
Pretty much. I think that's how it's supposed to go. So I grabbed this other one because apparently this is becoming a thing. I don't know if the teaching job is just getting immensely boring or what the deal is, but Tennessee teacher suspended for telling 3rd grader to punch a 2nd grader in the face. Because this isn't our first. This is, let's see, I'm trying to think of what the other articles. We had one about the one where they put a hit out.
Yeah.
And then
calling someone a sassy slut.
Yeah, so teachers are getting, they're not the teachers of the old days.
'Cause I feel like everyone and their mother is going into school to do teaching.
Right.
At least a lot of my friends, I know a lot of people that are going in for teaching.
It's because they know they can get away with this stuff now, apparently.
Yeah.
We can't hit our kids, so we're just going to tell the other kids to hit our kids. An elementary school teacher in Tennessee has been suspended for allegedly telling a 3rd grader to punch a 2nd grader in the face twice. The alleged incident, which happened at Watt Hardison Elementary School in Portland, happened after 2 young boys got in a fight on the school bus on the way home from school. Quote, the little boy, the 3rd grader, had pushed him and hit his brother and cousin, so he hit him back, says Brandy Dobson, the 2nd grader's mother. The boy's teacher, Rebecca Castle, found out about the incident the following day and allegedly took the boys into a deserted classroom to finish the fight while bringing another teacher along to serve as a witness.
Fight Club.
That's intense. She had told the little boy to hit my son. My understanding, he had hit him. She didn't feel like it was good enough, so she had him hit him again in the face. Dobson only found out about the incident after the children told her. It goes on to say that they're investigating and they've suspended the teacher until they figure out more. Ridiculous. Okay, first of all, there's not one but 2 teachers here that are suspect, because I'm trying to think. So first of all, I'm trying to think of a teacher that I would have had in high school that I would have thought, that guy would probably ask I guess that's high school, so maybe they wouldn't do it in high school because kids are smarter, you'd think, but for 3rd grade, so trying to think back into 3rd grade, there's not one teacher that's okay with this, but 2 of them. Hey buddy, you want to come see these 2 freaking 3rd and 2nd graders pummel each other?
They're female teachers, right?
Well, one of them, Rebecca Castle found out, let's see. The boys' teacher found out,
Honestly, I was just thinking, it sounds something more like a guy teacher would do. It's he hit you, hit him back.
Yeah.
Not something a lady teacher would do.
Because, let's see, the one ordering a hit, I think, was also a female thing, too.
And
so,
calling her a sassy slut.
I'll tell you what, man, we think dudes are at the root of all evil here. I'm not so sure that the women aren't pulling the strings from behind.
Yeah.
Crazy. So don't tell your students to punch people. Massachusetts police classify hot pizza as a dangerous weapon during an arrest. During the arrest of a Massachusetts man, a police officer classified a piece of hot pizza as a dangerous weapon after it caused 1st and 2nd degree burns. James Vincent Grass allegedly shoved a piece of freshly microwaved pizza into a 6-year-old girl's face and was charged with assault and battery with a dangerous weapon and reckless endangerment of a child. Holy crap. Okay, so the 21-year-old denied the charges against him during his arraignment. In his incident report, Officer Terry Deck wrote, the girl said Grass threw a piece of pizza in her face when she stopped the microwave because it was steaming. When she tried to explain, Grass grabbed the pizza and asked, do you think this is done, before allegedly shoving the slice in her face and saying, is that hot enough? Wow.
I would say yes.
So I guess I didn't actually read this article all the way through before I did it. That's really shitty.
Yeah.
I figured some dude probably just like threw a piece of pizza in a cop's face, and given, that's really no better, but is that hot enough? According to Grass, the girl asked to smell the pizza, and he then pushed her face into it. When her mother picked her up, the girl had already popped a blister on her chin and was holding a wet towel to her face. Okay, wait. So why is this girl at this dude's place? When her mother picked her up, maybe he was babysitting her or something? Don't push pizza into people's faces.
Yeah.
I occasionally will, like, let's say, like, popcorn or something that, like, comes out steaming. I will occasionally sort of put it in Rachel's face and be like, oh, and, just kind of steam all those wrinkles off or make some kind of stupid comment, trying to just be a goofball. There's been more than once that I've done that, and I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of hot, and I don't do it because just the steam is, just hot enough to be a pain in your face.
Yeah.
And taking a big hot pizza, I've burnt my mouth on some ridiculously hot pieces of pizza. I know how hot pizza can get, man. Throwing it on a face.
Yeah.
That's
a waste of good pizza.
It is a waste of good pizza, actually. Although the pizza they show here in the photograph is a supreme pizza with a bunch of extra crap on there. No thanks. I probably would have shoved that in somebody's face. It would not be for me. Granny Rambo fights off armed attackers in Detroit with a .45 caliber gun. A Detroit grandmother's siblings are calling her Rambo after she used her licensed .45 caliber handgun to fight off two armed men who attacked her in her own driveway over the weekend. Paris Ainsworth was shot 4 times during the attack, but was able to return fire with 8 bullets of her own. Ainsworth, a grandmother of 4, was getting out of her car when she saw 2 men approaching. She immediately reached for her handgun. He said, "Don't pull it," and he shot immediately. Ainsworth told the news, "I said, you mother," and this is bleeped. It says, "You mother expletive." I think we know what that is. And pulled out my gun and started shooting. One, he was right in the middle of the street. The other one was right here on this side of the street. The 51-year-old went, okay, so she's not that old. We think grandma, I'm thinking like 80-year-old grandma whips out a gun. 51 years old ain't that old. Went to Sinai Grace Hospital for treatment, the same place where the wounded men showed up and were later arrested. The victim told the officers that she fired her gun at the suspects when they attempted to rob her, and did not know if the shots took effect. What?
Oh.
While at the scene, another police run was called in from the hospital that a mail was shot, blah, 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 blah. Ainsworth has a concealed weapons permit, 2 handguns, and trains regularly. If I wouldn't have had my gun, I would be dead today. This is ludicrous, the way people are just robbing and trying to take... Yeah, so, power to you.
Rambo, it's going
that's
wrong.
insane. Takes 4 shots and then fires back double on both of those guys. Yeah, first of all, don't steal from people. And where was this? Detroit, okay. I was going to say, in the South, actually, I've noticed that in Virginia, when I worked at Office Max last year, I was, like, shocked. A dude came in and with a pistol holstered on his waist, his hip. Apparently it's a thing here, which is definitely not a thing in Illinois. If you've got a permit, you can carry a gun at your side in public. And all I could think about was
I think they're trying to get that.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I just, I think before I left, we were having, like, concealed carry issues and all that kind of problems. And I just was, so, yeah, whatever. At least she got away and seems to be all right. Taking 4 shots, I mean, that's kind of dangerous, especially depending on where you got shot, but must not have been too vital.
Yeah.
Okay, last one for today. Japanese bar offering discount to bald customers. Japanese men who are looking for a place to drown their sorrows because of their hair loss now have a place where they can go on the cheap. Otasuke in Tokyo is now offering a balding discount to customers who have follicle issues, and a sign outside the pub says that it supports hardworking fathers losing their hair. Excuse me, good lord, that coffee, man. Hardworking fathers losing their hair due to job stress. Anyone who enters the restaurant, which features a "Be Bald, Be Proud" sign, can get the discount by showing their baldness to a server. The more bald customers that are in a group, the greater the discount the party receives. Baldness is a very delicate issue in Japan, but in Hollywood there are a number of stars who completely ignore their hairless states, and proudly carry out their work. Owner Yoshiko Toyoda, anyways, told the Daily Mail, "I thought it would be nice to foster that spirit here. If 6 bald customers ever come into Otosuke, they will receive a yet-to-be-determined top-secret surprise. I was thinking of some way to help support salarymen, but without a theme, the idea was kind of lame," Toyota said. Then one day I was walking downtown and I kept seeing bald guys. That was it. I think this is a cool idea. I think it's, kind of funny and tongue-in-cheek to, support bald people, but at the same time it's like, there are certain people that probably are really sensitive about that subject, and now they can go to a bar and enjoy themselves at a discounted price.
Guess so.
That's great. I'm excited. And not that it's going to affect me, but that's cool. I like... I'm sure Ross would love this kind of thing. It looks sort of like a joke on the outside, but and especially calling it, saying it, losing hair due to job stress, but really is kind of a cool way to say, now we're part of this exclusive club. Like, come here and you get your drinks cheaper or whatever, your food cheaper, and that guy over there with the full head of hair has to eat at full price. How do you like that? So awesome. I love it. It's great. Okay, so that's it for news. Let me see, because we also have a clip for the next segment, which would be Challenge Accepted.
Challenge accepted.
Now, did you go first last week?
I believe I did.
Okay, so I will go first this week. I actually had to create this one this week. I pulled the information from a source, but I created my own little thing here. It's going to get a little more involved with you and your life, Tony. So I had to be sure on this. I almost pulled the wrong year. You graduated in 2011, correct?
I did.
Okay. What grades did you get in all of your classes? No, I'm kidding. That's not the trivia. What we're going to do...
All D's.
It'd be about the same for me. So I have with me right here a list of the top 10 songs according to the Billboard charts in 2011.
Oh.
Now this includes... These are the top 10 songs in America, or I guess just probably world... I don't know what Billboard pulls from, but at least in America. It's for people like us, and I say people like us, ones who generally prefer music that isn't pop. A top 10 may not be the greatest thing to pull from. However, senior year, generally in high school, tends to be sort of a big thing, and a lot of people tie a lot of songs to things, especially with graduation and parties, and everyone's listening to all kinds of music that's on the radio at the time. So I figured, what better year to pull from than the year you graduated?
Yeah.
Ask you if you can name the bands that sang these top 10 hits.
All right,
so I'm going to start with number 10. I will give you the song name. I will also, if it features a guest artist, I will tell you who it features. And you can if you can tell me who the original artist is. Or
okay.
Who sang it, then we're good. So here we go. Let me load up. Okay, we're good. Number 10 is called Just Can't Get Enough. Okay, so let me just preface.
Black Eyed Peas?
That is nice work. I was going to say that there might be some on here that you won't know. I didn't pick... Well, of course, I picked the top 10, but even some of these I knew. So if I knew them, I'm assuming you know them, because I don't know anything. I barely even listen to the radio anymore, if even music in general. So, okay, number 2. Moves Like Jagger, featuring Christina Aguilera. Sorry, I said number 2. Dude. That's number 2 question. It's actually number 9 on the list.
Number 9. It's that Adam dude. Maroon 5?
That is also correct. Nice work. Number 8. Super Bass.
Super Bass?
Yeah. I had not heard of this one. I've heard of the person or group that sings this, but I had not heard of the song.
No idea. Skrillex.
Nice guess. It's actually Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj.
Fun little behind the scenes trivia, not backside trivia. That's a whole different show. Behind the scenes trivia. When I was typing in, I actually typed in Nick Minaj by accident. Google asked me if I wanted to change it to Nicki solely because I had Minaj. So it will actually correct you now for popular names. Because I tried it. I just typed in Nick, no autocorrect requested. Type in Nick Smith, no autocorrect corrected. Type in Nick Minaj, it asks you if you mean Nicki. Thought that was kind of neat. Number 7. I'm going to bleep this. It says F you. The radio edit was Forget You.
CeeLo Green.
That is CeeLo Green, correct. Nice work. Big hit. I remember that one.
That song actually came up. I was playing drums the other day, and I just put my phone on shuffle and just play along with whatever pops up, and that was one of them.
Cool. Yeah, I actually really like that. I don't have drums anymore, but I kind of liked doing that play drums to anything kind of thing.
Yeah.
I did a drum cover to Thriller once, just to kind of try to figure out what you can do, and I imagine it's more fun for you.
I actually played that in pep band in high school. That was one of our songs that I played drums to.
Cool. Thriller's a great song. Number 6 is Grenade.
Bruno Mars?
That is correct. Nice work. I don't know if I could name anything by Bruno Mars. This next one might be a little more difficult. It's number 5. It's called Give Me Everything. It features... And you're going to have to help me with this one. I don't know if it's Neo or is it Neo? Am I supposed to pronounce it Neo? It's like N-E-Y-O. I've heard of this guy. I know nothing about...
Dude, I don't even know who that is.
Featuring Neo, Afrojack, and Nair. The song is called Give Me Everything.
I said Afrojack?
And Nair. N-A-Y-E-R.
Give Me Everything.
I've not heard of the song either.
David Guetta. I don't know.
Incorrect. David Guetta actually was number 1 on the 2012 list, because I actually thought for some reason that you would have graduated high school in 2012. But he was number 1 on that list, and I didn't recognize the song. Anyways, it's Pitbull.
Pitbull?
Yes.
I'll be what? I don't like Pitbull.
Yeah, I've not heard much of his, but no, I've not heard of much of the other people either. Number 4 is E.T. featuring Kanye West.
Katy Perry.
That is correct. Nice work. Number 3 is Firework.
Katy Perry.
That is also correct, and we'll give you a little bit of this.
Wiener Poopy.
Nice work. Number 2, Party Rock Anthem featuring Lauren Bennett and Goon Rock.
I can think of the song. I can think of the dance. I know the guy's name is Red Foo. Is one of the people in it.
Red Foo?
Yeah, it's
okay.
like his nickname or something.
So I'm gonna Wikipedia these guys, and if one of the guys' name is Red Foo, I might give it to you.
Hold on. I know this. I know the song. I know other songs that this person. I can't think of. I'm blanking.
Okay, I'm gonna give you that, and that's all I'm gonna give you. So I'll give you. Okay, so it's LMFAO.
Oh,
but Red Foo was correct.
that.
Nice. I wouldn't have known. Wouldn't have known it was a guy named Red Foo. So nice work.
I'm pretty sure it's like a nephew and an uncle that are the two people in that group.
That's really cool.
Like the other guy's like Blue something.
I didn't see the other guy's name, unfortunately. Red Foo, I did see, though. Last one, if you don't get this one, I don't know what we're going to do with you. Rolling in the Deep.
Oh, that's Adele.
Yes, that is correct. Rolling in the Deep. Nice work. So you did pretty good. You got, what,
Good.
Pitbull? The
I didn't
Pitbull was
get-
the only one you didn't get, and Nicki
And
Minaj.
Nicki Minaj.
So nice work. That was impressive. Those were the top 10 songs in 2011. Notice there's no rock music on there unless you want to call Maroon 5 rock, but they're like pop rock. So that sucks, but what are you going to do?
And so, I actually did a paper, I did a speech on the music industry or something like that, and like CD sales and piracy. And it said like rock was the number one selling, like sold the most albums. But when you look at it, it's like Imagine Dragons and like Fun,
Yeah, I mean,
a bunch of groups that aren't really rock.
yeah, because, the whole pop indie rock is a popular thing, and it's, and that's totally fine. I'm not here to bash other music, but yeah, the sort of the heavier stuff and, anything that would be quote unquote rocky even more, even the fact that like Nickelback's not on this list. Now they're probably in like the top 100,
Yeah.
but, top 10, and so whatever. Not that Nickelback is any kind of form of rock, but whatever. All right, cool. So nice work. That was makeup from last week.
Yeah, I didn't. What was last week's trivia?
I'm
I can't remember.
trying to think because it was the one where I was going to use the elements, but I didn't use the elements. I decided to do. Who knows? I already deleted it from last week too. So.
Okay. Oh well.
Nice work.
It's probably something I didn't do good on.
But you did well here. So good work. What, Mr. De Palma, do you have for me then?
Well, I had something I was going to do. I was going to kind of make it up, but it just didn't translate well.
Okay.
So I just went with something a little more simpler. This is name the TV titles given their loosely based antonyms.
Okay.
So, for example, like this is just an example.
Okay.
Like Crime and Chaos would translate to Law and Order.
Law and Order. Okay. Wow. This might be difficult, but it's good. This is a challenge.
And we'll do. I got a big list of them, but we'll do probably about 10.
Okay.
Just to make it fair. Start off with Queen of the Valley.
King of the Hill.
Yep.
Oh my god, sorry. That was a preemptive. I was so excited. I knew that one. That I dinged myself too early. Sorry. I will be a little more reserved. Yes, okay. King of the Hill.
I'm going to start with some easy ones and
Okay.
gradually harder. Knights of Your Deaths.
Knights of Your Deaths?
You probably don't watch it, but you've had to have at least heard of
Knights
it.
of Your Death.
Maybe it. Okay.
Oh gee, I don't know. I'm gonna say Knights of Your Deaths and Queen of My Life, or
No, not like a night, not like a night, like a person night.
Days
like
of Our Lives,
Time of
then.
day. There you go.
Good Lord. So that clears it up 100%. Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Okay. Let's see. Who doesn't want to be bankrupt?
Is that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yep.
Who doesn't? That was good. That was funny. I'd watch that show.
All right. Single without adults.
Married with Children.
Correct.
Oh, we talked about that at one of our first shows. Actually, maybe the second show that you and I did solo.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
None.
As in the...
Like a person who she is a nun.
Oh, okay. So then I would say monk.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah, it took me a second because I wasn't sure.
Okay, let's see. Fact Boy.
Fact boy. Fact boy. Fact boy. I'm thinking... Okay, so it's probably something man. Fact boy... The only thing I can think of is like Lie Man or Fantasy Man or Fact Boy, Fake Man. No, I mean I don't have a clue.
Gossip Girl.
Gossip Girl. Oh, that's great.
Okay.
That's good.
Let's see. Fact Builders. Will be a slightly easy one.
Fact Builders?
Yep.
I don't know if I want to know this one. Fact. I'm drawing another blank, man.
Mythbusters.
Mythbusters! Oh. Nice, okay.
Let's see. We'll do 3 more.
Okay.
Because we got them. Booze. Boos.
Okay, good. So then it's Cheers.
Yep. Sane women.
Sane women. Mad men.
Correct.
That one took some stretching.
Last one.
For all the money.
Abstinence or the country?
Accidents?
Abstinence.
Abstinence. Oh, Sex in the City.
Yep.
That was good. I really like that one. That was a lot of fun. Nice work. That was good.
Yeah.
We had that was some good trivia this week.
We did.
It was,
We didn't. None of us really failed hard.
not too bad. I think I missed 2, and you missed 2.
Yep.
Nice. We're improving. We're getting smarter, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so that brings us up to our first break. Got some good music today. I was telling you this before the show, actually. I got some really good stuff. Okay, so I'll preface this. The first band today is called The Gospel. Now, it's not actually a Christian band. Doesn't mean they sing about Satan or anything like that, but it's not a Christian band. It's a sort of a post-punk band. I actually work with one of the guitarists. I think maybe just the guitarist. His name's Todd Corvin. He is a sound engineer who I work with for doing computer stuff, and he actually has offered to do some of my recording in the future. The problem is as soon as I talked to him about recording, I looked into getting a podcast started, and so now I spend some of my extra time setting up the podcast each week rather than writing new music. So whatever. Anyways. I asked him, I said, hey, Todd, you do a lot of that kind of stuff, and he knew about the podcast. He calls this my Freemason broadcasting program, making fun of me, but whatever. And he sent us in some music that we can play. We'll play one of their songs today. It's called Clock Hands. Now, the album name, I think, is just called The Gospel. You can find them on Facebook, too, by the way. It's The Gospel RVA. Facebook.com/gospel, The Gospel RVA. RVA stands for Richmond, Virginia. But it's pretty good. I don't generally like punk or post-punk, but I kind of like this. He comes in on the first verse, and so here we go. Anyways, enough build-up. Here is The Gospel with Clock Hands. When we come back from the break, we've got some good game deals to talk about, and Ross comes back. Talk about some Karmified. So we will see you on the other side.
10 years in a college town. Never any reason, just needed a place to sleep. 10 years I've lost more than I found. Done nothing that amounts to anything, and nothing means everything. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Daylight turns into nighttime, yesterday turns into a lifetime. Where did it
we said, it is Valentine's Day, one of the busiest days for restaurants as well. And if you're making last-minute dinner plans, you may have a hard time getting in some of the titties in some of the city's top spots. We checked around at some local restaurants.
Wiener poopy.
You're listening to a Fly Science Productions podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. My nephew texted me during the break wanting to know if we can do some Dynasty Warriors. I was like, don't you know I got a show, man? As much as I would like to be playing Dynasty Warriors. You know what? The more I listen to that song, the more I actually really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I kind of can't stand punk in general, but I really like that song. They have two other songs on his EP that he sent me, but really fun stuff. Okay, so actually I forgot to bring this up when we mentioned Kanye earlier, so now I'm going to bring it up. There's this thing on the internet. Apparently it's called Kanye West is the kind of guy, and then people sort of fill in the blank.
Yeah.
It's a Twitter thing. I'm just going to read a couple of these. I thought they were kind of funny. Kanye West is the type of guy who will dial the wrong number, then tell the person who answers that they answered the wrong number. Because apparently, I don't know, okay, I don't pay attention to pop news, but I know about the Taylor Swift thing, so apparently Kanye West is kind of an ass. So here we go, let's see, what's another one? Kanye West is the type of guy that goes to a funeral and wonders why everyone is sad because he's still alive.
Ouch.
Yeah, some of these are pretty good. Let me see, I'll pick one or two more, let me see here. Kanye West is the type of guy to get mad at a mirror for wearing the same outfit as him. And last one here. Kanye West is the type of guy to wear both pieces to a best friend's necklace. Those are kind of good. I found those. Someone told me about them yesterday, and I thought that was kind of good. Okay, so we actually have game stuff to talk about now, and I don't really have a segment name for that, so we're just going to do some computer sounds here because that's what people think games sound like as we get ready. Okay, so we're going to talk about some game deals. Considerably less than what we talked about last week. We had a bunch of game deals last week. I'm only going to mention a couple imperative game deals this week, and then we'll move on. First one, I'm not actually going to go into too much detail. It's a game called Nocturne. It's a PS3, PSN game that you can get. It's only $10. It is one of the best JRPGs I've ever played. For those of you who don't know what a JRPG is, it's basically an RPG, which is a role-playing game. It's a turn-based, sort of like your Final Fantasy or whatever, but the J in front of it means that it's Japanese. It means it's made by a Japanese company. Tends to be sort of more on the innovative it's not your run-of-the-mill whatever. It's the difference between, like, let's say, like an indie film and then like a blockbuster or something. It's usually it just has some weird different quirks to it. But that came out, I was actually really surprised because it's sort of a smaller, lesser known game, but it's very, very, very good if you like JRPGs. And at a $10 price is a ridiculous steal. I actually ordered a PS2 and this game last year so I could play it on a PS2.
Hey.
Someone recommended it to me, and I was like, sure, I'll buy it. I'll see what I get. And so it probably cost me altogether like $70. Worth every penny. I put tons of hours into it, and now it's on the PSN, and the nice thing about the PSN is it upscales to 720p. So, very good. Go out and buy that if you like JRPGs and you own a PS3. It's very difficult, so don't expect an easy time to go through. And then the only other recommendation I'm going to say is, which I say probably every time it's on sale, is Darksiders 2. Buy it right now, because that game's amazing. That's on Steam. $7.50. I think it retails for maybe $20 or $30 right now.
Yeah, I picked it up the last time, I think a couple weeks ago when you messaged me, it was on sale, and I think the retail is $30.
Nice. It's a bummer because the company that developed it, THQ, filed for bankruptcy a year or two ago, and they were kind of fighting it, and then finally, they just couldn't do it anymore, and everything got sold off, and this IP got picked up by sort of a no-name developer company. So unfortunately, the future of the series is a little uncertain, but Darksiders 2 is very good. If you played Darksiders 1 and you thought it was good, guess what? Darksiders 2 is 5 times better. The 1 is a good game, but in comparison to 2, it's very hard to compare the 2. I actually played 2 and then went back to play 1, which I had already played before, and I found it very difficult to enjoy because 2 is so much better in my opinion that it made 1, sort of difficult to do. But that's on the computer, so it has, the textures aren't great, but it does have better graphics than the console version. Highly recommend Darksiders 2. There's a bunch of other stuff. Go to cheapshark.com. You can find everything else that's on sale, whether it's Amazon. There's like 6 other sites that they list. It's mostly going to be computer stuff, so if you have a computer, there you go. But yeah, that's that. As far as what we are currently playing, go ahead and start with you, Tony, since I've just been running my fab.
Since school's been getting pretty busy, I haven't invested time into a game I haven't really beat.
Sure.
So I've just been replaying Portal 2 right now.
Okay.
It's just have you played the Portal games?
I've played the first one, and the first one for me was just kind of, it was cool, but just boring up until the part where GLaDOS decides to kill you. Sorry, spoiler for anyone who hasn't played that. But basically where it gets weird, and then it got really, really cool.
Yeah.
Because of that reason, and there was a lot of hype about Portal 2, I just skipped over it because I didn't want to be let down or anything like that. So I actually have no idea if Portal 2 is any good, despite hearing that it's quite amazing.
Yeah, Portal 2, I love the first one, but I really love the second one.
Okay.
Because, it's the same characters, I think Shell is her name, and GLaDOS.
Okay.
But they also introduce this character named Wheatley, who's another AI for Aperture Industries, and he actually makes the game pretty funny. He just kind of comments as you walk, go through the puzzles.
Right. Okay.
And so there's a lot more interaction than do this test, I'm gonna kill you.
Right. That's what I've heard. I've heard that the multiplayer is kind of fun too in it.
Yeah, I haven't done much with the multiplayer.
Okay.
But it's pretty cool. I don't know, it's just fun. I've beat it 5 times, but I just
nice.
Every now and then I kind of forget how to do each puzzle, so it's just fun to
sure
play with portals.
Yeah, you know what? And it's probably something I could pick up cheap next time it's on sale if I don't already own it. Because I do own a lot of games that I just
no kidding.
buy and hold on to. That I buy and hold on to and hope that I'll eventually play it. Nope, don't have Portal 2. So, who knows? I have been replaying the Metal Gear Solid series, which I've mentioned probably more than once on this show. Aside from an RPG, or, which I don't really think compares to something like Metal Gear Solid, because in RPGs, although good story, Metal Gear Solid is almost strictly about story, as the controls are terrible for the first couple. But I've been replaying through these, and these are probably my favorite game series outside of, like I said, something that's an RPG, because I don't usually mix genres. It's not fair to really say this RPG sucks compared to this shooter sucks compared to this strategy game or whatever, because they all kind of have a different flavor to it. And there might be one you enjoy the most, but it's not, there's not much to compare between the two, because aside from just on entertainment level, because they're different genres, because they don't have anything in common. That's what makes them another genre. Anyways, Metal Gear Solid is one of my favorite series, at least for as far as storytelling, and so I'm going back through that. I just beat 3 the other day. 3 is really easy to get through. I've played it probably 3 or 4 times now since last year, because I played all these for the first time last year. So I went through 1, and then I went through the 3rd one again when I did my main playthrough, and I've beaten it back when it first came out when I was living with my parents, and I was on the PS2, and I've beaten it again now. So that one's fairly easy to get through. Moved on to Peace Walker, which is a much longer one because of the way it's built, and I'm still going through that. That kind of took a back seat because Rachel's mom got here, and then I just got Bound by Flame yesterday, which is also very good, in my opinion at least. So that's why I'm excited, because Metal Gear Solid 5 is going to come out probably the beginning of next year, and that will probably be the last one to the series. Metal Gear Solid 4 finishes sort of the modern day timeline stuff, so that was kind of a finale. And then Metal Gear Solid 3, Peace Walker, and Metal Gear Solid 5 actually take place before the rest of the games. And 5 is probably going to put a cap on the story in the past. So we've already got one huge game in Metal Gear Solid 4. Now Metal Gear Solid 5 is going to close off probably the others' timeline, and that will probably be, the end of the series. But I have very high hopes, but I've never been let down by Hideo Kojima. He runs all the games. He, is director, writer, producer. Surprisingly, doesn't have like a production company come in and like ruin all of his games.
Yeah.
I've never been let down with a Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah. I picked up the PSN deal. I think, what was it, 2, 3, and Peace Walker?
Good. Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah. You're right. I forgot. I already have one, but one is available, I think, for probably like $10 on the PSN.
Gotcha.
It's not good compared, like, control wise, but if you ever play back through one, that's the thing that's nice is the story quality is consistent throughout all of the games. It's the controls that are shitty. So when you play Metal Gear Solid 1, you will be, or 2 or whatever one you play, you will be shocked at how good it actually is, because Kojima was telling these crazy good stories back in, like 95 or 99, whenever that game released. 97, I don't remember. Probably 98, 99. But, that has never changed. The controls have gotten better over the years. So for Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3, they're kind of weak. They get really good in 4. They get really good in Peace Walker. And then 5 is like the ultimate. Like, you can do anything you could ever think of in 5. And it makes for a much better experience. But very good. Very good. I'm glad you picked it up, because it's a very good series. And honestly, if you're kind of, they're not long games. Each one lasts less than 10 hours.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you think about that on terms of, like, another RPG or something you're going to play that usually lasts 20 to 30 hours, you can fit 3 Metal Gear Solids in there. And you're thinking, like, well, gee, that seems pretty short. It's a heavy story game. It's not meant to be lots of gameplay. You'll find that, cutscenes are 20, 30 minutes long sometimes.
Jeez.
Yeah. Okay, in Metal Gear Solid 4... Rachel, we played it last year, and Rachel had been following the story with me. So I called Rachel in, like, at the end. I was like, oh, come in. I just beat it. Oh, let's watch. Hour and a half of ending, like, them summing up all of the story and everything else. Like, I'm not lying to you. Straight hour and a half of cutscenes.
Oh.
I actually really enjoy that, because it means that I can kind of sit back and not have to, play something. But a lot of people didn't love that. And so 5 is actually presented in a much more bite-sized format. That's why he went kind of open world with it. 5, he says, if all the rest of the Metal Gears are movies, think of 5 as like a TV show. He was like, the things you are going to do are going to get kind of intense and cutscene-y when you do that mission, but then when you go back out to the open world, there's not going to be cutscenes interjecting every, however long for 20 minutes. So
yeah.
And I've played, Ground Zeroes, that little intro to 5, and it's very good. The small cutscenes that they have are, like 9 minutes or something like that. But that's much more bite-sized compared to, a 40-minute cutscene. Okay. Still very long by game standards. Most cutscenes only last a couple minutes. If that.
Yeah. See, I didn't know that. It's not going to really sway me to not play it, but it's definitely going to be a thing where I'm going to have to wait till I'm done with school.
Right. It's very good, though. I mean, like, you're going to play Metal Gear Solid, and it's not going to be like anything you've ever played. And I know I'm talking up the game a lot, and it's, people listening to them are going to be like, oh, geez, that game better be the best thing I've ever played, Honestly, for me, if you take, and I don't want to say if you take games seriously, but if you get into the story and take the story, like, see his message, because he's actually, presents a pertinent message about war and nuclear deterrence, stuff that we dealt with just in the last 10 years, and really kind of dissects what it means, and, are we truly safe if we have nuclear weaponry, and all this other kind of stuff. It's really deep, but it's tremendous. It's probably the best story I've ever seen in a game series, because he doesn't treat it like a game. He treats it like a film,
Yeah.
So it's very good. Enough about Metal Gear Solid. I do want to mention real quickly before we get on to Ross. bought Bound by Flame yesterday. I'm actually really enjoying it. Now, it didn't get very good reviews. It got about middle of the road. About, if to be topical, about as good as Spider-Man 2's getting in the movies right now. Which is to say that not as many people are liking it, but there are still people liking it. A lot of people sort of giving it reviews that are, like, oh, this game isn't as good as Dragon Age, or this game isn't good as The Witcher, which are very, very good games. But I read a review by Game Informer that gave it an 8 out of 10, and I actually think it sums it up pretty well. Is that what they were doing was sort of their own modest attempt to make this, dark RPG that's got these influences from other games, but wasn't trying to overtake these other games either.
Yeah.
It doesn't boast, look at this AAA title, look at all their production quality, because it's not a AAA title. It's a very B-grade type of game. That being said, there's something refreshing about playing a game that's not, your typical Call of Duty type refinery on the production quality, Like, it's not to say that the bugs are endearing, because I haven't met any bugs in the game yet, but it's just the way it controls and everything else sort of, the way it looks has that sort of distinct kind of lesser than great quality, but it still makes it sort of its own flavor, and by, somehow that makes it more enjoyable to me, because I play a lot of games, and you play something like Metal Gear Solid and it's got great production value, and you go back to try something else like this and it's kind of a nice refreshing, like sort of like watching an indie movie, that doesn't use a lot of special effects or something, and you're like, that movie's not that good, but it's still like good in its own thing. It's what I would describe as sort of like a cult thing, kind of like Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, I've noticed you're a big fan of like the underdog, like.
It does help. Now, there are games that suck. I played Spider-Man 2, the game, and I thought that was kind of garbage. But it didn't produce itself up to be, it said like, oh, look at this. We are like, we are the next big thing. This game kind of came in under the radar, didn't say much, and, kind of did what it said it was going to do. I think that you want to look at it for what it is and not what you're comparing it to. If you're going to compare everything to like the best of the best, whether it's movies, games, music, guess what? Everything is going to fall flat always if that's the case.
True that.
You can't hold things up next to the perfect model and say, well, look at all these blemishes it's got. You got to look at it and say, okay, what were they trying to do? What did they do? How did they, how well did they do it? And that goes for everything, music or otherwise, So, anyways, enjoying Bound by Flame, despite it getting like 6 out of 10, I would say, is what most people are giving it. But I think Game Informer gave it a good 8 out of 10, and I think that was well deserved. By its own standards, it is very, very entertaining and enjoyable game. Also available on Steam. I got it for PS4. It's available on Steam for $40, so it's actually $20 less than what you buy most games for. Although I would say a controller is necessary. Also very difficult. And I actually like that. I like difficult games. I like games that aren't, straight up just kind of going with the flow. You actually have to try. Good game for that. Do you have anything else to say about games, Tony? I sort of rambled hardcore there. As you can see, I have a lot of opinions about the industry.
I did have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask you right before you said you were done with Metal Gear.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
What is it? Wait. Metal Gear Rising.
Okay.
Is that same thing? Or is like
sort of?
Because I'm just confused to how like the storylines for all these games.
Okay, so we'll just give you I won't give you a synopsis. I'll give you a quick run. The games in order go 3. It's the very first one as far as like chronological story.
Okay.
Then Peace Walker. Then 5 will take place, and Ground Zeroes takes place right then. Then you have Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and then 4 puts a cap on the story of 1 and 2. And actually the story on technically the whole series, because it all ties in together, but mainly that part. Then they came out with Metal Gear Rising, which was going to be called Metal Gear Solid Rising, I think. And that focuses on a guy named Raiden, who is in Metal Gear Solid 2 as the main character. And he also comes back as a sort of a secondary character in 4. But he now is the main character in Rising, and that is like action packed to the brim of like It's like the Devil May Cry of Metal Gear Solid games.
Gotcha.
He has a sword, and you just go through and you're hacking and slashing. I think it's good for the story. It's an okay game, and it's fun because I like Metal Gear Solid, but it's not the same. It has a minor focus on political stuff, but its major focus is on action. It's about a 5-6 hour game if you have trouble beating it. I mean, it's very short.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious if that tied in at all, or if it was just kind of like
it does, but
similar name, but completely separate.
It ties in its own other story. So it takes place.
Okay.
Let's see. Metal Gear Solid 4 takes place in 2014. Metal Gear Rising takes place in 2018. Starts its own little story. I actually have that. I can mail it to you if you'd ever want to try it out. Because it's good, but it doesn't. It's not pertinent to the actual Metal Gear Solid series. I don't think they're starting their own sort of spin-off with Raiden as the main character.
Gotcha.
And he's an interesting guy. It's an interesting game, but compared to the rest, I think it's hard to compare it to the rest because it's an action game and the other ones aren't. But I would say it's not necessary to play that one. But it is supplemental and fun if you actually enjoy the rest of the series. I would only recommend that game if you like the rest, because then you can sort of see like a side story with that guy.
Okay.
Wow, Metal Gear Solid Talk has been brought to you by... No, just kidding. Let's go ahead and get Ross in here. We were doing pretty good on time, and then we talked forever, but we're still doing all right. Pull Ross onto the call.
Ross.
He's coming, it's going. Ross, are you there? Oh, Ross, are you there?
Yep.
Well, hey, why don't I play... Good Lord, why don't I play this?
We are the movement that is taking matters into our own hands to instill change in the world, simply by being the change we want to see. It's not about money, politics, or religion. It's about us. Join the groundbreaking movement at karmify.com.
Ross Bays, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, fellas. How you doing?
Not bad. Now you're sounding a little better. It sounded like Wednesday when we did our little recording. It sounded like you still might have been a little unwell.
Oh yeah, I'm doing a lot better. I wouldn't say I'm 100%, but I'm just about there.
Good. I'm glad because we did the thing Wednesday, and I was like, oh, he still kind of sounds like he's got a little nasal thing going on. I felt bad, but
no, I had a good time. I think it helped me to run around and kill zombies.
Definitely, and it's a good thing we had you. There was a comment while we were playing on the Twitch stream. A gentleman that I know said, "Man, Ross really he really takes this militaristically." I was like, well,
I was thinking the same thing while we were playing.
I was like, he used to be in the military. He's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
I almost actually messaged you guys after we did that whole thing, and I was going to apologize because the more I thought about the whole experience, the more I realized that once I get into that mode, I just go right back to the Marine Corps, and I take it so seriously.
No, you know what? It really helped take us along because if I was... as much as I kind of like to lead this podcast, if I had tried to lead that, I would have been like, well, we can check this building over here, see if we can find some cans. And then Ross comes up. He's like, all right, I got 6 mags in my back. You want to reach into that? I've got this dude over here. Oh, it's like so much more exciting with Ross taking the reins on that. So thank you very much. It was very good. But of course you didn't come on here to tell us about zombies. You came to talk about something probably a little more important.
I guess that's debatable, but we'll find out. So I wanted to extend the question to you guys first. I don't know if you saw it on the show notes or not, but the question is, if you could tell your childhood self anything that may help them through life, what would you say? So now I already think I know what Jake's would be. So Tony, I'm going to start with you.
Well... How old childhood?
Like I'm thinking maybe middle school, maybe into high school.
Okay. Well, probably just to do what I really want to do, not what people say I would be good at doing.
Okay.
It's like, school-wise, what's been getting me is like, in high school, people were like, oh, you're really good at math and science. Like, you should do engineering. I was like, okay, sure. Like, it'll get me a good job. And then people were just like, do engineering. So that, like, when I got to actually college, started doing engineering, I didn't like engineering.
No.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to figure out, like, took me forever to figure out what I actually wanted to do.
Gotcha.
So I would, I guess, just do what I want to do, not what other people say I would do.
Do what makes you happy.
This is very good advice.
That's pretty good. Okay. Now, I think I know what Jake's is, and if I'm wrong, correct me.
I'm curious, honestly, to see what you would say, because I was kind of unsure of exactly what I would tell myself. But go ahead. I want to hear what you think.
I have two things.
Okay.
One would be, don't tell Ross the spoiler for Portal.
I'm sorry. It's not a huge spoiler.
Well, I already know how it ends. I don't have to play it anymore.
I'm sorry.
The other one, that's all right. The other one would be, only drink milk fresh from the teat.
Surprisingly, neither of those. But those are... I feel really bad. I want to give myself bad karma on Karmified now for it.
There you go.
Okay, so I guess as far as like... I'm trying to think, because there's nothing that I don't really have a lot of regrets necessarily. I mean, sure, the college thing kind of went south, but I don't think that has anything to do with my choice so much as how I actually struggle with it. I would say the one thing that I probably would tell myself to really have done better, honestly, is I feel like what I've done with music would be so much better if I had actually dedicated more to practicing and learning actual theory when I was younger, because as I'm older now, it's very hard to get it to stick, especially if I don't practice constantly. I would say that I honestly think I would be much further with my music had I either started younger or just dedicated more to it.
So was there a reason that you didn't stick to it as much as you wanted when you were younger?
Well, when I first started learning, the guy gave me two options. He goes, I can do two things for you. He goes, I can teach you how to do everything by notes and by learning this, that, and the other, or I could teach you by learning the songs that you want to play. And I was like, well, we should probably do the real way. Let's do it the real way. Well, it was super boring and wasn't teaching me how to play the songs I wanted to play when I was a kid.
Right.
So I quit going to lessons, and I only taught myself by listening to songs and looking up some sheet music stuff online and trying to learn it all myself. And it works well for a certain while, but then when you get into, 10 years later, when you're actually like, I want to try and write something that's actually good, it can be difficult to try and come up with something if you don't have a, better understanding of how everything works underneath, behind the scenes, as it were. I think that's one of my biggest things. Is I just wish I would have devoted more into music theory. I could easily say study harder, but I know me, I still wouldn't have studied harder. There's some other things, and other than that, honestly, the two biggest regrets I have is not doing well in school, and my music. And so the music thing, I think, is something I could have corrected had I known later on that it would have been a bigger problem.
Well, now also you got to think that you're not even 30 years old yet, so you still have a whole lot of time that if you still felt that way, you could still drive through it, right?
Yeah, that's definitely true. The motivation is harder to find at this juncture, unfortunately. But no, I agree with you. There is still time to. It's never too late.
Right. So the reason this came up was because there's potential that later this month I'll be doing a talk to a bunch of high school students up in New Hampshire. So what I wanted to do, and the whole thing came down from a former teacher of mine when I was in middle school that later became a principal and traveled around the state, and really, really inspiring guy. And he follows me on Facebook, so he gets to see a lot of the Karmified talk and, things about my book and things like that. So he's been kind of in contact with me in the last few months and wants to kind of bring that same message that I, bring with Karmified to the kids, because they're kind of at that age where they have no idea, like, who they are or what they want to do. It's all about right now and about everybody else. So the idea was, if I extend this question, this challenge to everybody else out there that's already kind of lived through that, and now that it's kind of like saying, well, I wish I knew now I knew back then what I know now, kind of thing. So I throw out the question to figure out what the common themes are and see if there's a way that you can connect that to the kids. So generally speaking, the teacher told me, we're teaching them how to explore, how to question things, how to think for themselves. And really just about believing in themselves and being themselves. So what I did was I extended this question to everybody on Facebook, and I took what I thought were the most applicable 14 responses, and I put them in what I thought would be a decent order to really drive the point home.
Cool.
So first, Megan on number 14 says, trust yourself the most. Peer pressure is mostly people trying to get you to do stupid stuff so they can feel better about their own bad choices.
Agreed. High school's full of morons. It's yes.
Yeah, and the more I think about it, the more I think about like the people that I looked up to as a kid in terms of the popular kids in school or whatever. Like I look at them now because I'm still friends with some of them on Facebook, or I see them show up somewhere, and it's not what you think. They never turn out to be who you think they would have turned out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, peer pressure, man. Let's see. Number 13 comes from David. He says, focusing on academics was wise, but weight loss after 25 sucks.
I'm getting to that point. It's
yeah, and we've been talking about Gladiator and the workout thing for, a few weeks now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's rough. Let's see. This is one I can definitely relate to. I don't know if you guys can like I can, but 12 comes from CJ, and he says, don't hold back from doing things. If you think you can do something, at least give it a try, because if you never try, you will never know.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. Actually, we were talking about this the other day. Was two opportunities in grade school that I had wished I'd taken up. Was one during music class. We had someone come in that was a director of musicals at a local, must have been some kind of theater. And, she had saw that I was basically fidgeting and being psycho Jim Carrey in the back of the room because I had real bad ADHD. And she was like, you'd be great for musicals. How would you want to do something like that? And of course, I'm like, be in front of people. That sounds terrible.
Right.
And so I never did it. And then on top of that, we had something called declamation, I think, where you sort of acted out skits in front of classes in 7th and 8th grade. And I opted not to do that either because it made me nervous. But now I've got such an interest in, like, obviously radio and film and all these other kind of things. And I'm like, man, I had a lot of theater friends in high school that I really wish I could do what they did. But that was some of the opportunities I had when I was younger. I opted not to do because I was like, oh, that scares me. I don't think I want to do that. But I wish I had. I really do.
Now, Tony, can you think of anything in the past maybe year or so that you kind of just decided, I'm going to at least try?
Yeah, kind of relates to like Jake's and his music thing. About last May, a kid I went to high school with, I started working with in this landscaping job, and we both played drums. And he had a band, and he was talking about how they were playing at one of their buddies owns a block over in East Peoria, across the river from me, and how they were going to play like a little concert for everyone at like this block party. And they're like, well, and they knew that I had in high school that I had played with my roommates now that I was going to move in with. He was like, if you guys want to play with us, you can go ahead and like open for us. And we were like, well, we haven't really played in a long time, so but we were like, heck, we'll just go for it. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
And I mean, we practiced. We were super rusty. I mean, I hadn't played drums in since living in Champaign, going to school. I didn't have a drum set there, so I hadn't played drums in honestly, it was the last time, Jake, that you came to my house to play music.
Wow. Yeah, that would have been a while.
Yeah, I hadn't played in so long.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't know. It was just a lot of fun.
So the show went well overall?
It did. It was the most nervous I've ever been in quite a long time. Because even though, like, we take turns, like, we don't really have a set singer or a set lead guitarist. I am pretty much the set drummer.
Yeah.
But Dan and Mike, they like switch it up on songs. Like they'll take turns singing. And there's even a song where Michael plays drum and I sing.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
So I was fine with hiding behind my drum set, playing songs, but the songs where I actually had to like sing vocals, these were like a Rage Against the Machine song.
Oh yeah.
So I was sweating bullets.
That's fun, though. It's fun.
Yeah.
Well, that applies pretty well here because the next one comes from Corey, and Corey was the drummer of my band when I was in high school, and Corey was blind.
Oh, bro.
And I will never forget, we were setting up for a gig. There's this little battle of the bands kind of thing. It was us against another band that turned out to be a ska band, which was my first exposure to ska ever. And we set up the drums for Corey, and as a joke, because we're teenagers, we're all bastards, we set up the drums for a lefty instead of a righty. So Corey sits down, and he gets his stool situated for the height, and he picks up his sticks. And like I said, he's blind. He has no idea. So we're staring at him and just giggling away, and all of a sudden he gives a quick 4 count for, a quick sound check, and starts playing, and it's just tink, 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 terrible. So he feels around, and he's like, very funny, guys. And then he switches over lefty and plays the song Lefty.
Oh!
Yeah.
Impressive.
Talk about that's good for somebody that can see, let alone a blind teenager. So this comes from Corey, number 11. Never spend a moment worrying about things beyond your control. Do the best you can with what you're responsible for and let go of the rest.
Good advice for anybody even now.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah, that's a really impressive guy, and he still is doing music. He plays at the House of Blues on the West Coast and does all kinds of stuff. Yeah, he's a real good dude. Next one comes from James, number 10. Jump at every opportunity that comes along and enjoy every single moment.
Yeah, kind of ties into one of the earlier ones. It's one of those things. It's because if you you pass up those opportunities, they don't always come again. Some things you can kind of pick up and go, like you said, with the music. I could still do that if I wanted to, but the stuff with the theater stuff. I mean, it's much harder for me to find now to find an avenue for that when I could have been getting experience back then. And so always, opportunities that.
Yeah, and you always have to kind of wonder when you skip out on something. You always kind of have to wonder, especially years later. Well, I wonder what would be different now if I had done that.
If you had, there could be a lot different.
Yeah, and my wife and I went on a cruise a number of years ago, and there was this acting cast from this group called the Second City, which anybody that knows theater knows Second City is in Chicago and is responsible for a ridiculous amount of SNL celebrities.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds super familiar.
Yeah, they're a really big deal. And they were on this cruise ship, and they did a bunch of shows, and at one point they did this acting workshop. So I went down there, because I love that stuff. I love theater. So I went down there and started playing along, and it was the same stuff that I grew up doing in drama and everything else, so I had a blast. Well, at the end of it, they approached me and said, well, hey, where are you from and what do you do? And I said, oh, well, I'm a weapons instructor for the Department of Defense. They're like, what? Because I'm a walking unicorn. I'm just such a goofball.
Yeah.
And they said, well, look, you were born to do this stuff. We have a group in Washington, D.C. that's a few hours from you. We will call them and tell them that you're coming.
Good Lord.
Just go and audition and tell them that we sent you and you have to go. And I was thrilled. I mean, I was flattered, I was thrilled, but I never did anything with it. And I thought to myself, like, I have a full-time job. I can't just up and leave and go tour or do whatever these people want me to do.
Right.
In Washington, D.C., I can't do that. So here I am, 8 years later, and always wonder what could have happened.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah, that one, oh, man.
That hurts a little bit.
That one does. never too late, I guess. We'll have to go back and watch another show.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I know. Number 9 comes from Sarah. Don't rush to grow up. Enjoy your worry-free life and pay more attention to what's around you.
Yep, because pretty soon the bills will come, and good luck ever. I keep thinking back to the time when I didn't have to pay rent, and I'm like, how did I?
Oh.
What was I doing? I know.
I would die for that right now. Like, I'd have so many more gadgets, and it's funny though. Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Number 8 comes from Kristen. Live life to the fullest and don't sweat the small stuff, which is just about everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, even as much as I am worrying about this, the car stuff and all that kind of crap that I have to do later, it's like, it's stuff that there's much worse that could be going on.
You could have hot pizza shoved in your face.
That is true.
It's all about perspective.
Oh, that's going to be my go-to now. Is anytime something bad happens. Well, at least I didn't have hot pizza shoved in my face. People are not going to have any idea what's going on. Now, being a segue, I'll be like, well, you better listen to the show, man. Funny stuff happens.
That's right. Number 7 comes from Patricia. She says, friends come and go, but family is forever. And this one actually struck a chord with me because one of my biggest regrets is that when I was in the Marine Corps and I came back from boot camp and I came back from a bunch of training and stuff, I'd have maybe anywhere from 3 to 10 days off. And that time, because I'm gone for so long, that time should be spent with my family. But of course, I come back, I'm 19 years old, 18 years old, I come back and I'm spending it with my current girlfriend, who in 3 weeks' time is going to be gone anyway. Right. I didn't spend time with my younger brother. I didn't spend time with my parents. I think back to that, and I feel horrible because my kid brother was maybe 8 years old, 10 years old. I mean, he's at that age where he needs his older brother. Yeah. And here I am. I spend maybe 2 hours at home for the entire 10 days, and nobody ever sees me. So that one kind of struck a chord with me, and I wish I could kind of have those times back and think, well, I want to fix what I should have done,
Yeah, well, and unfortunately, too, as they say, hindsight's always 20/20. At the time, something feels a certain way, and you just kind of do it, and then when you think back, you're like, man, what a moron,
Yep.
So,
number 6, really simply put, Alexander says, slow down. Yeah,
true.
I don't think he's talking about driving either. It's like, how many times a day do you unplug and kind of go outside and just sit in the grass or walk around with your shoes off? Or, I mean, who knows? I don't do this enough. I wish I did, but I don't. I probably should try to put more time into that.
Well, and you know what? Honestly, you do that kind of stuff and you're sitting here thinking like, oh, I don't want to waste, like for me at least, I have these issues where I'm like, I could do that, or I could waste 20 minutes of my time, or, doing something that I don't want to do. But when you do that kind of stuff, time generally doesn't go any faster. The time that when time goes fast, is when you're having fun or whatever. It's when you're watching TV or when you're pretty soon you've got 5 episodes of Breaking Bad done. And you're like, holy crap! How did I get here?
You're solid.
Exactly. Yep. It's go out for a walk around the block and it's going to feel like it takes 20 minutes, but you'll be back in 10. And so you're not losing as much time as you might think. And it's nice to sort of have that unwind.
Yeah, get that introspection time to you. I got you. Number 5 comes from Elizabeth. You're going to be okay. Just breathe and enjoy every moment. It's a good one. Number 4 comes from Kelly. I wish I didn't try to grow up so fast.
Yeah.
Number 3 comes from Audley. Don't worry what others think about you. And that right there, I think, is one of the most important points. Don't worry what others think about you.
Yeah, that one, and I actually, we've talked about it before. I actually didn't have too much of a problem with this in high school, but I do know that a lot of people that did. There are, I won't name names, but I had a friend in high school that I would play World of Warcraft with, who I actually, commented once on his Facebook, and I said, hey, here's the new raid set, or here's the new something, and I posted some link about Warcraft. And he deleted it. And I was like, well, that's goofy. So I was like, hey, did something happen? I posted that thing on Facebook, and it looks like it got deleted. He's like, oh, dude. He's like, if you got something like that, just go ahead and message it to me privately. He's like, I don't want chicks knowing I play World of Warcraft.
Oh my God. Come on.
And I was like, really? Like, and that's kind of where the turning point happened, and, you know, he and I don't really stay in contact anymore, and, you know, to be honest, it doesn't bother me too much, but there was a couple people I knew like that, and it didn't affect me necessarily, because what happened was I just kind of stopped involving them in, you know, what I enjoyed doing, because I was like, if you're only going to enjoy doing it when you're doing it behind the curtain or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, no, I agree. There's so much in high school, at least, too, that you're so worried about, like, you know, what your appearance is. And it's like, who gives an F, man? Just, you're not going to be happy because you're going to train yourself to thinking that that's what you have to do, that you have to appeal, you know, to people, and you have to, you know, I don't know, kind of be something that you're not, you know. And so that's very good advice.
Yeah, and, you know, I it took me a long time to learn this, because this is how I feel now, that I'm really comfortable with who I am, and I don't care who you are or what you think of me. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't matter. This is my life. And it's still to this day. I work with all these big tough guys from Delta Force and SEALs and everything else, and I'll go in with my brony shirt with that big unicorn and rainbow on it, and it just doesn't matter. And sure, they bust my chops, but they know first and foremost that it just doesn't matter. And I'm just going to be who I want. If I want to eat Cheetos and Yoo-hoo for breakfast, that's just what I'm going to do, you know? So I just wish I'd learned that earlier.
Yeah, and you know what? There's a lot. I would really think that people are missing out if they're going to pass up you wearing a brony shirt. Probably one of the most entertaining people I've met. It's one of the reasons we got you on the show. Is, you know, so it's definitely think people would be missing out if they. You know, where it would be what's the word? Discriminating against you for your quirks, because I think that they add to the package.
I appreciate it. Number 2 comes from Tanya, which kind of coincides with the previous one, which is just simply put, just be yourself. And, you know, if you think about it, just if you're going back in time and you're telling yourself, like, look, I understand what you're going through, but just be yourself. It's straight and to the point, and it almost solves a lot of problems. You know, if you just be yourself and be true to who you are and what you believe in, it makes things a lot better for you in the long run.
Definitely.
And finally, number 1, which I thought was really, really good, and especially where kids are, and I can't say nowadays because I don't think the generations are really that much different per se, especially on these terms, but I think this sums it up for everybody. It gets better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, how many times do you think, like, oh, my world is crashing right now, and I don't know how I'm going to survive this? But you know what? In a month or 2 months or a day or whatever, it's all water under the bridge, and you're moving on to the next thing.
Yeah, and, you know, it really applies to sort of any time frame. I mean, when I had a couple issues just last year, and then coming up, and, you know, even with like car accident stuff and just like crap that you're just like, man. Like, hate dealing with this crap. Even today, I'm sitting here like, dreading, like, I don't want to go deal with the freaking dealership, you know, the getting the car stuff. But then you think of it, and you're like, man, it's all going to be over as soon as it gets taken care of. Won't have to worry about it then. Like, you know, there's going to be a point, and it's hard to see it sometimes, but there's a point where what you're dreading, it won't be in front of you anymore. It's going to be behind you, and you can't, you know, there's no use. You know, just like worrying about it. You just kind of bite the bullet, get through it, and then better days and enjoy
Drive
them,
through.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard as a kid. I mean, it's like, I know, and you kind of hit the nail on the head earlier when you're like, I wish I could have said, study harder, but I know I'm not going to do that.
Right.
And I know as a kid, if I'd heard some of these things, I'd be like, whatever, I'm having fun, you know, I'm passing in school, so what's the big deal?
Right.
But like, I'm the kind of guy, even nowadays, I'm still really guilty of just being obsessed with instant gratification. You know, I don't want to save money. I want to go buy some Cheetos. So, like, I'm still really guilty of that. But I still don't know moderation, but if I could give any advice in terms of someone that wants, you know, someone that's at that age that wants to try to better themselves eventually down the road, I always looked at it, well, not always, but in the past few years, I've looked at it as the weekday is for the future, but the weekend is for now. So It's not like you're always being strict and you're always being perfect and you're not making mistakes every single day. There's no way to live a life. But if you stick Monday through Friday as, this is when I'm going to work my butt off and I'm going to do everything that's going to make the rest of my life a little bit better, but then the weekend, I do whatever I want. I play video games, I eat chips, it doesn't matter. But you have to at least spend time doing both of those things, otherwise you lose your mind.
Yeah, it's a pretty good breakdown, definitely, for your weekday approach, your weekend weekday approach. Really good, nice tidbit.
Yeah, because everybody thinks it's always like, I have to work 100 hours a week, and then I'll finally, maybe 10 years from now, things will buck up and it will get easier. But you're not going to last that long. You're going to burn out and lose your mind. You're going to lose family because of it. You lose friends, and who wants to live that way? So
nobody.
I guess exactly. The point of all this is that, if we can kind of compile this information and pass it on to the people that it's affecting right now, it's going to kind of make the cycle a little bit better for everybody. And, maybe we can't, like if I go in a couple weeks and I talk to 500 high school kids and there's only one kid that I drive the point home to that it actually makes a difference for, then, every one of us in some way has done our job and we've made somebody's life better. And if it goes in one ear and out the other for everybody else, so be it. We at least tried.
But can't do much about that at the point.
Yeah, and there's still time for everybody. So I'd say if this thing does pan out and I end up doing this, I'd like to take all the information that we've gathered so far and push that into the message to try to throw to the kids. So that being said, I want to extend the challenge to all the listeners today to add to the discussion. So Facebook.com/StreamTheMachine. Go on there and tell us what you would tell your childhood self. And who knows? Maybe you can change the game for somebody else. It's never too late. Maybe it's too late for you in terms of you as a kid. But there's still a lot of kids going through stuff nowadays that could afford to hear the message.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe we can read a couple on the show next time when we meet back up and, see what we've got, see if there's anything inspiring before we dive into whatever our next, mind-opening Karmified segment is going to be about.
And next week is going to be mind-opening, so you fellas prepare yourselves because there could be a lot of, mortifying moments next week.
Well, in response to that, I have this.
He smokes with cigarettes.
So, Ross Bass, thank you very much. I love your Karmified segment. Always, especially coming after a big video game segment, always brings things together finally and says, here, take a look at this. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're feeling better. We did have fun last week, but, we're missing something if we don't have Ross Bass on the show.
Hey, it's all good. Thanks for the time, fellas. Have a good week.
Absolutely. Have a good day. There goes Ross. Man, what an introspective segment today was.
Yeah.
Crazy. Good Lord. Okay, so that brings us then to the end of our show. I did truncate a few things. I don't know if you noticed in the notes there. Tony, people want to help out the show. At least we'd hope they would want to help out the show. Maybe they want to help out the show. Maybe they don't. But there might be a few of them that do.
Yeah.
What can those people do if they want to help out?
We can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook, I believe it's just, like Ross said, Facebook.com/StreamTheMachine. Like us on Facebook. We post usually the day before and the day of the show. And maybe sometimes
occasionally in between, not often.
Yeah.
It depends on what needs to be said. But
just giving you guys some updates. And on that, we got links to where you can listen, or like you said, like comment about something you tell your childhood self. Just be active with it. Mm-hmm. You can sponsor a segment. With that, I believe it's a $5 PayPal donation, and if you say this summer you're starting like your own charity drive, or you got a garage sale that you want to advertise, anything.
Could be anything.
You can sponsor a segment, and I promise I won't butcher it.
If you sponsor a segment, I'll go ahead and read it, but I can't guarantee I won't butcher it either because sometimes I have hard times in those news articles. One of us, we'll even hire someone with that $5 if we have to read your segment properly on the show.
Hey, that's a good way to bring Chris Levingood in.
Yeah, really. Let's get him some revenue.
And another way is supporting through Patreon. It's a flat donation at the beginning of every month, I believe, and it's just the more we get on our Patreon page, the higher. Like, we have goals, and after we get $50 a month, that's our first step. And this $100 a month, we can start a video podcast,
Yeah, man, I've been really visual today. None of you guys can see it either, so ha ha ha, donate money. Yeah, you know what? You can do as low as $1 a month if you wanted to. That's helpful.
Anything helps.
I mean, anything helps. You know, so think about it, $1 a month. That's like an iTunes song. I guess 29 cents less than an iTunes song.
Yeah.
Because now they're $1.29. So you know what? We're on the cheap, man. You get that new Adele single, "Rolling in the Deep," for $1.29. We're not even going to ask for that. We're just going to be like, hey, just give us $1 a month. You can do more. If you do $5 a month, you're pretty cool. I think $10 is the one where now you get the Gears of the Machine, the Hall of Fame. So basically, if you get up to $10 a month, well, write your name on the site. People can see that you are a main contributor. You know, it's a little bit of a vain thing to do, but it gets people out there to say, hey, you know what? I like the show and this is how I want to support it. So go ahead and do that. Email in your music. If you know people that's got music, go ahead and email it into us. Or, you know, have them email it into us. We want more stuff, more cool stuff like we have today. Get some more variety in there. Also, we got our normal Twitter stuff, although we're not. Tony's on Twitter more than I am. I'm at Redefine Jack. Tony, what is your Twitter handle?
At Tony DePalma 51.
Yeah, good. And you can learn about sour milk and how bad it tastes. Yep. So
seriously, it hurt.
That's
like it stung my tongue.
That makes me just want to puke listening to it. Like just listening to like milk burning your tongue, which is something milk should never do. That's great. So I want to thank everybody. First of all, check out our website, streamthemachine.com. You're probably already there listening into the show. If you're not listening in the show, that's where you can get the show when you don't listen into it. Of course, if you haven't heard it live, how are you ever going to know to go to the show to get the song, or get the, you know, it's a little bit of a catch-22 there, but we'll post about it on Facebook. I want to thank everybody for the help. Tony, as always, thank you for being a awesome co-host. Couldn't have asked for a better one, so thank you very much. Thank you to Ross coming back, not abandoning us with 45 minutes that we'd have to fill every show. He helps get that last half of the show going. Although, of course, we could just turn it into Metal Gear Solid Hour and discuss that. I want to thank Todd and one of the authors of the upcoming song, DJ YRS Jersey, for sending in their music. We love being able to play stuff on the show, and getting variety is great. Next week, 10:30, same time as always, will be episode 9. We've got one more episode. So actually, we're going to have to start thinking after. So coming up this week, actually, we'll probably have to start thinking of what we can do to do a little something extra on the 10th show. Hitting the double digits, man. We'll see what we can do. Maybe something special. So yes, 10:30 Eastern next week, 9:30 Central, episode 9. That brings us to our last song. This song was sent to me by goes by the handle DJ YRS Jersey. Song is called Jax the Ripper. It's actually kind of a neat, I don't want to call it horrorcore, but if you've ever heard like sort of rap that's like got those horror tones to it, sort of like a darker, you know,
Tech 9 kind of thing.
Sort of, sometimes, yes. Okay, so I would say sort of like that. It's definitely has, you know, more than just your sort of like party anthem playing on the radio type of thing. I actually kind of dig the track. It's, you know, it's my taste in hip hop is kind of limited anyways. So, you know, I wouldn't necessarily say it's my favorite, but I actually enjoy it. Chose Mac is the featured artist. So it's Chose Mac featuring DJ YRS Jersey. The song is called Jax the Ripper. They didn't give me an album, so I'm assuming it's a single release. You can find these guys on Twitter at Chose Mac. So, okay, the way that's spelled, by the way, is CHOX_MAK910. So Chose Mac 10, or at I am DJ YRS Jersey. And that's literally IAM DJYRSJERZY. For DJ YRS Jersey, you can find him on Facebook at facebook.com/ I'm going to spell this, DJYRSJERZYPAGE. So DJ YRS Jersey page. So anyways, great show today. Thank you very much, Tony, for helping out. This is Jax the Ripper by Chose Mac featuring DJ YRS Jersey. Glad to have their music on the show. Tony, I will see you again next week. So thank you. thank everybody else. Have a good day.
Yeah. NC to the UK. Let's go.
Jack's the Ripper, Jack's the Ripper. How many stars does it take to make the Big Dipper? Rhyme shocking your body like you got caught in your zipper. I know about the flow mo, cause my bro's name was Flipper. My words got me on the verge of being that nigga. J-Damn Killer, and my gang's name Skrilla. Carl Malone bars on the mic, I deliver. Mommy want Papa's John, she's a very big tipper. If you ain't heard, I merged in a lane of kickers. Shorty now screaming I'm in love with a stripper. T-Pain, love boat in my veins. I'm the dopest dope that ever smoked 3 snakes in a plane. Matter of fact, I am the virus that murdered the T-Wayne. But I did it with an axe dip, then poison that I sang or spit. I'm sick, I'm too legit to quit. This MC hammered to death cause the bars made me sicker. Revolutionary hip-hop, started from a ziplock. Got it backwards, still trying to be crisscross. I ain't mad, but hot. I'm pissed off. You so absurd with words, you'll rip your lips off. Probably sound better on the tip of a Beretta. Better pray to your God, broad, before your soul lifts off. Just spoiled milk, trying to make cheddar. I'm Buddha and provolone, my Jones just go deafer. You can always hear me though. Loud smell in my sweater. How many beats killed is in the lodge on my ledger. Left the street, still got killers, man, them ties never sever. Lines cut them up, we just started with an edger. What's the goal to a gorilla? You can't level with me. You'd have to ace college 10 times to get my degree. Better listen to the Vatican, they made the decree. The devil wears Prada and she ain't hotter than me. Jack's the Ripper, Jack's the Ripper. How do they get the heart to make tornadoes and twisters? American muscle, can't get stranded in a Fisker. I'm past you. Still playing with your whiskers. Even in school days, our son rappers call me Mister. Raised the real, no drills, I'm a very dangerous spitter. Jurassic J-Ville killed the beat like poster. Revitalize my flow out the park, Sammy Sosa. They don't feel me though, I'm the main supplier of coca. Musta went numb, wake 'em up with that fire poker. Line so crazy, but I can't play the Joker. Jack Warren Heat, he ain't listening, now it's over. Better let go my ego, or I'll burn you with the toaster. I'm trying to eat for real with every bar, I get closer. Whack these whack. Wet 'em up, super soaker, send 'em up or send 'em down, just a deadly roller coaster. Jack's the Ripper, Jack's the Ripper. Next on the attack in a flat, riding on a jigsaw. What's poppin', Kermit? I'm still them swishers. I'm in the house banging screw music with your sister. She heard I was a legend, let me hit in the John. None of you Montana, it ain't ring no alarm. So I'm down, really I'm high, and she said she was by. Brought her home to my shorty, the effect was a try, or trifecta. I'm having a meeting with Mr. Lecter. He just giving me tips on how to make them taste better. Cause I eat MCs like cannabis in his prime. I lost the scorekeeper, now he's just taking the time. I'm complacent with the rhyme, only faking if I'm declined. I'm a mason and he's my prime. Number 1 is still on the grind. I got in my mind and it won't go away. So gotta keep killing these just to get through my day. I'm going crazy, kinda schizo. Using my 6 flow, the depth out in my last name's Klitschko. I'm burning till the end, I ain't leaving no clip. So better go to Rap Genius and read this so you don't misquote. Jack's the Ripper, Jack's the Ripper. Jack's the Ripper. Jack's the Ripper, Jack's the Ripper. Jack's the Ripper.
I want to do it because it's fun. It's fun to do bad things.
Oh, what a relief it is.
And that is a show.
Nice.
That is a show.